Welcome back. Let's continue conversation around the polity. Martin Onovo, who is a politician and energy sector expert. He wears a lot of cap, joins us. Mr. Onovo, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Good to see you. Let's begin from what I read that got me curious, and I said, we have to speak with Mr. Onovo. You're saying that by what is playing out in Nigerian politics, President Tinubu endorsed for second term by his own political party, some other members of PDP falling head over heels to join his party. Defections is a new norm. It's just a total chaos. At the end of the day, you see what's going on in PDP, for and against coalition. And you are saying you've taken a position to say, look, I wanted this job as well. I do not see us unseating this man except by a coalition. Why are you so sure that that is the only chance of unseating President Tinubu?
Well, from a philosophical perspective, the first thing is that a united minority is stronger than a divided majority. If you say the incumbent has 10% of the popular support, only 10%, it means 90% is against the incumbent. If you spread that 90% to 20 political parties equally, what that means is that each political party will get about 4.5% averagely. So you find out that an incumbent with 10% can defeat opposition parties that are divided to the point that they're averagely 4.5%. So that's the philosophical and the arithmetical perspective to it. Second, the historical perspective. Coalitions have always worked in Nigeria, but they work under different guises. They work under different guises. In the First Republic, there was the MPC, NCNC alliance, Northern People Congress and the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons. They had the alliance, and they formed the First Republic government. In the Second Republic, there was the MPN-MPP alliance that formed the government. Then you remember how APC came to power. So historically, that's also verified. Arithmetically, that is very clear. And philosophically, it is obvious. So it's about a majority being a majority, not splitting itself into too many groups. It's that simple. I think it's clear. We have to work together.
But Mr. Onovo, from the start, it appears as if this coalition is dead on arrival because there seems to be very little consensus buildings amongst the key, voices and personalities forming this coalition. And in addition to that, there are also other obstacles in their path. One is the political party that they would even, field this coalition on. And secondly, the concern that, INEC is sitting on applications for the formation of new political parties.
That is not a problem. You are talking as a professional journalist. I am a politician. That is the natural process. That is the natural process in a democracy. And we have enough time to clean up all that. We have 1 year to clean that up. So you may also be in a hurry. Be patient. We'll work it through. We are politicians. We realize that this is necessary. But that doesn't mean we agree on every minor issue. So we'll work it through. And if you look at when we started, you see that positions have been shifting. So it is very, very progressive. We will arrive at a candidate, and the ruling party.
Oh dear. Just when the conversation was getting interesting, because I'd like to ask you, Mr. Onovo, so who amongst the lot would you consider, or do you think Nigerians would consider as the ideal candidates that comes with credibility and track record that, that the generality of the mass of the voters would rally round and would not be considered as, a member of the old stock of politicians that can't be trusted and haven't delivered on their promises in the past? Mr. Onovo, I hope that you're back and you can complete your thoughts there. Mr. Novo the network through to Mr. Novo is still challenged at the moment, but the conversation is taking on a life of its own. Mr. Novo is speaking confidently about how these obstacles are indeed, non-issues that can be surmounted in the short term. But politicians are big on the coalition at the moment, Jeffrey, and even Chief Dele Momodu, whom we just finished talking with, has been quoted as saying that only a coalition can unseat the current APC-led government. But the question is, are they agreed, on the key issues? Which candidate are they going to field, and which political party will be the choice, the credible choice that will be embraced by the generality of Nigerians?
For me, I'm hoping that we can get Mr. Novo back so we can put some of these questions across to him, because one of the things that some members of the ruling party have raised is to the effect that a lot of what may make the coalition fail is that everybody wants to be that leader. Everybody who is trying to form the coalition is aiming at being the presidential candidate of the coalition. So that in itself is troubling for some persons, and it narrows the general intent. And also my concern, which I wanted to put to Mr. Novo, is to the effect that when are we going to start building political parties in Nigeria, because we're running a democracy where we can standardize to what we have? Quick example, the UK and the US, where we will not need all of this coalition, that parties can stand independently and face each other. Even if we have two solid parties at each other, just like we have the Democrats and the Republican, that we don't need all the coalition to be able to, because it took in fact, it wasn't a coalition that got the APC in, it was a merger. ACN, there was a part of ABGA, there was a new PDP, there was ANPP, there was a couple of other parties that came together to form the APC before they were able to do what they did. Remarkable result they got in 2015 to unseat an incumbent in that sense. So,
and Jeffrey, don't forget
it looks
that
like that is the way forward as far as unseating an incumbent. Is it that the president is too powerful, or his performance is so great, or our structures are not that good? And again, if I want to objectively speak, right now, besides all the talk about coalition, what alternative ideas are they putting forward to what President Bola Tinubu is doing? He has said some of the levels of the macroeconomic data is looking in the right direction. Trickle-down effect, or let me use the right word, the compounding effect hasn't reached the populace. He has doubled down to say, look, the days of subsidies is actually gone. Whether it's PMS, whether it's FX, electricity is on its way to total deregulation in that sense, so that market forces will decide all of that. So, and it is a question of, because President Tinubu put us in a shock, we are literally vibrating still under that shock, because it was abrupt. That is the way he sees it, more like the neo-liberal policies promoted by Milton Friedman. That is how he approaches, let the market run this thing, and the shock is still affecting everyone.
Yeah.
Some people are saying they're going to be gradual, or what they call gradualism in that sense. So what I want to be seeing right now is alternative ideas. Nigerians are saying this shock is too much, it's unbearable.
Yeah.
What are the things that we're going to get out of this shock? We've seen all of this before. So, all right, Mr. Novo, gladly we hear you're back. We don't want to do your job. But maybe you land on your thought before network was unfair to you, and then we'll throw in the next question.
Okay. If you hear me, we can proceed.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, I was saying that the ruling party will be defeated even in a more significant way that it was defeated the last time.
Okay. So let me now ask, I was discussing with my colleague Bukola while we're trying to get you connected back to the conversation. And that has to do with, while all of this politics is going on, we're not seeing alternative ideas, because the Nigerians that are complaining and saying things are tough because of the twin policies of government. In fact, there are even more than that. The shocks is too much. We're literally shaking under the impact of it. The government said, just bear it for a while. It's going to, the curve is going to go in the right direction. But what other alternative ideas are this coalition putting together for Nigerians to be seen and say, I think we like this idea. We will abandon Bola Tinubu for this idea, if that is what you're putting out. but we're not seeing alternative ideas. So is it just about politicking, no alternative ideas?
No, please. I think that's unfair to us, because the first thing is that we have to agree on the ideas. And this government just did a midterm a few days ago. So it's not even time for politics. You should even credit us for starting early. So the ideas are clear, because a lot of you come from diverse professional perspectives. But let me give you a background. INEC rules require that every political party's manifesto must be consistent with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the first thing is that the manifestos are similar, and they are social democratic manifestos. You need to get that clear. That is the rule. So if that is the rule and all of them are similar with their different shades of gray, those shades of gray are what need to be reconciled. And just like the Bible says that two people cannot work together if they do not agree. So this thing is a natural process. And the individual leaders have their positions in the public domain. So if you want to infer what the position of the coalition will be, it will be to find the middle ground between the positions. That is if you want to project. But if you give the time that is required, which to me, we have started 1 year ahead, we have enough time to reconcile the issues, but the media wants immediate solutions. Natural processes don't work like that, especially for complex systems where you're dealing with a country of 220 million people. So be patient with us. The alternative ideas are in place. You can find them from NCP manifesto, SDP manifesto, ADC manifesto. They are similar. So we'll work out the final draft. But this is a natural process. It doesn't happen in one day.
But Mr. Novo, the absence of that engagement really in the political space, where we see these political parties providing the alternative ideology in the spaces where they occupy, rather than talk about how to grab power, is what Nigerians really are yearning for, such that they can have faith in this ideology in the first place. But if members of the coalition are not taking up space with an alternative debate about how to manage the economy, then it seems as if it's all about grabbing power.
It cannot be, because do you call this economic management, what has happened in the last 2 years? It cannot be. At least they have spoken against what has happened. You are doing an 88 billion road with 1.06 trillion. 1.06 trillion can do a brand new highway from Port Harcourt to Abuja. Then you're using it for 47 kilometers. What do you want us to say? You want us to tell you that you already know that. We have already said that. So if you want to know the position of the coalition, then you aggregate the positions of the different groups that belong to the coalition. It's not difficult. You're looking for a final draft, and I've told you that that is work in progress. It will come out. But first steps first. But you want everything to happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a natural process. Human beings are involved. So, and they're coming from different perspectives, different strategies. All those need to be reconciled.
All right, Mr.
It is going to work.
Yes. All right, Mr. Nova, I know that you play in the oil and gas sector, but we're going to go to that. But let's stay with the politics. The reason why we want to double down on this question of alternative ideas, because I know you were talking about let's call it the principle of state policy according to the Constitution. So Section 16, let's say 1B, I talk about the management of our resources in such a way that it has to be maximized to the benefit of the people in terms of welfare and all the grammar that is used in the Constitution. But apparently, even within the APC, they have a different approach. One was welfarist in nature, which is Muhammadu Buhari, and that affected the fiscal management of office government that landed us in a ditch where our debt to the revenue service was digging us further into the ground. And this president has come and said, I'm going to take the other route. I'm not going to go to Keynes and the Keynes approach. I'm going to go to the Friedman approach, where it's going to be neoliberal in that sense. So they let the market control all of this. So do you think that when people take different approaches, like what should we do, maybe is my question. Should we do a hybrid of welfarism and capitalist, Or what exactly is the way forward? Because Nigerians are feeling the heat of all of this. Those are the conversations we want to be hearing from the opposition or the coalition in that sense.
I am telling you with full authority, you can hear that from ADC. You can hear that from NCP. You can hear that from SDP. You can hear that clearly if you want to. You can also hear it from CSOs. You can hear it even from the NLC, that is not a political party. That's a labor union. So that's not what is missing. I'm saying that these groups, if they come together, will have to now develop that hybrid. And what I'm saying is that you are even going too far, in the sense that what we're dealing with here currently with the Jagaban Tinubu regime, we're dealing with crass incompetence, we're dealing with corruption, and we're dealing with the worst, which is lawlessness. Go back to Lagos Coastal Road. The Procurement Act requires a bidding. Was it bidded? Go to your presidential oath. It forbids personal interest. But the owner of the company, the president in public, called him Jagaban Tinubu in public, called him his partner. And we know that they have business relationships. So you live impunity and you start worrying about fine-tuned manifestos. The manifestos are there. It's just that the coalition has not agreed on one or a hybrid, which will happen. And you have 2 years for that to happen. So why are we in a hurry? We must allow things to work naturally if we want them to work rightly. These discussions just started barely a few weeks ago, and we want all the answers. No. And you have just confessed that even in the ruling party, they have different perspectives. So why do you think that the opposition should be able to reconcile its perspectives immediately they decide to have a coalition? No, it doesn't work like that. It takes time.
Mr.
We have that time.
Mr. Novo, I'm speaking on behalf of Nigerians who are looking for alternative ideas. You can take all your time if you want. It's your own loss. I'm even giving doing you a favor to say bring out your ideas early in the day so that books can be compared. I will thank you. We will bring you back on the issue of the oil and gas sector. We thought we'll have the time, but unfortunately, network and because of other conversations we'll have. Martin Onovo, always energetic and fiery in his submission. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.